We are live with the latest episode of the Wrestling Show. Lots to talk about this week. But first, before we do that, we gotta go to the panel. And so far, we have Kingpin on here. How you night, Kingpin? Apparently, he fell asleep. So we'll move on to the next person, which is Jason Stewart. How are you night, Jason?
I'm speechless, Rich.
Somebody wake Kingpin up. He hasn't said anything out there in the chat in over 6 minutes, so yeah, he may have fallen asleep. And no, I hate to disappoint you at the Patriot, but no, I do not know the entire history of midget wrestling, so you just have to look that up yourself. In fact, I know very little about midget wrestling, except for the fact that it was two little guys beating the crap out of each other, and it was funny as hell, and I don't give a shit how politically incorrect that is.
Was he talking midget wrestling or midget tossing?
Well, he started with. I'm guessing he's talking midget wrestling because you also had the big guys that would wrestle midget. So I don't know.
Yeah, he says midget throwing.
Well,
Well,
you know
I,
what?
I, I, I know it
That,
was created sometime after the invention of Velcro.
yeah, that's kind of a silly thing too. But you'll get that in wrestling too, where big guy will pick up a midget and just throw him. So yeah. Without the Velcro, obviously. But yeah,
Didn't like the Romans put like a saddle on you or whatever so they could grab you and throw you.
hell, I know.
Midgetus Maximus Tossimus.
I can't answer you now on Jason. Yeah, we've been joined by Tactical Fud. How you mate, Buck?
I'm doing okay. How's everybody doing?
Not too bad.
Speechless, Buck. Speechless.
Yeah, I was listening to you today. All that fun you had yesterday.
Oh no, we had that fun today.
Oh, was it today?
Yeah, yesterday sucked for me, Buck. It was Friday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Damn.
Yeah, you know the housing market is slipping when Jason has weekend days off.
Yeah, we've been slowing up a little bit, but I don't know. It wasn't a bad week. I'm not really complaining about it. It was just a little hot a couple days.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, a little hot. That's one way of putting it. Hot and humid as hell here.
Yeah, we only had it about 3 days though. And then it cooled back off, so
Mhm.
it wasn't unbearable. We were like a little over 100 with like the heat index and all that, but our real temperature was only 90 something or other. So
Oh, we hit real temperature of 100.
I think we did on like the third day, or we were real close to it, but yeah, can't control it. Global warming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got a temporary respite, and it's supposed to get back up into the 90s by the middle of the week next week. So
I don't mind the 90s. I just don't like the hundreds.
yeah,
If I thought global warming would actually raise the temperature of the earth, I'd have a giant tire fire in my backyard 24 hours a day.
well, remember that their idea of global warming is an annual average increase of 3 degrees planet wide. In other words, really nothing.
Hell, next week supposed to hit up over 100 degrees next week. That's the temperature.
Yeah, we had that 2 days ago here.
Nah, I'm not looking forward to it. It's hard laying up underneath them trucks with a fan blowing on you smoking cigarettes because it's too damn hot to work.
Yeah, back in '95 when I was working at Greyhound, man, that summer was brutal. All the diesel fumes and the heat.
Well, speaking of heat, uh, topic of the show: Vince McMahon is in hot water.
Oh, yes, he is. Yeah, he got caught doing some things that he shouldn't have been doing, including his paralegal. So, yeah, where do I start this story? Well, John Laurinaitis and Vince McMahon. Well, Vince McMahon hires. Let me start. Let me go take a step back because yeah, John Laurinaitis is involved in this too, who is the head of talent relations for WWE. But and he's the brother of the late Road Warrior Animal, for those whose name was Joe Laurinaitis. But I'm digressing right now because it's something that happens on this show. But anyway, getting to the beginning, Vince McMahon hires this, or the legal department hires this paralegal, and Vince signs off on it. And apparently, she had recently graduated college. I don't remember the exact time frame before getting hired, but Vince takes a liking to her, shall we say, and he starts an extramarital affair with her, which really that's not as big a deal as what it sounds because from all the reports, him and Linda McMahon, while they're still married, haven't really been together in a couple years now. Since shortly after she was appointed to the cabinet, Trump's cabinet, the two of them just they've all but divorced at this point. They don't live in the same house. They don't live in the same state even. So yeah, that part of it about the extramarital affair, just put that to the side. But Vince still shouldn't be doodling one of the people that technically works for him. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, Vince and John Laurinaitis start passing her back and forth between them, completely consensual between on all their behalves. And Vince decides that he's going to break off the relationship, or she decided that that part's still not clear. And on her way up, by the way, I forgot when they started the uh, affair part of the whole thing. Her salary was also increased $200,000. So yeah, that's not exactly ethical either. But yeah. Anyway, we get to the part where she decides that she's leaving the company after Vince breaks it off. On her way out the door, Vince pays her $3 million not to tell anybody anything. And of course, she's more than willing to do it. And now, somehow, somebody who's a whistleblower, not her, not John Laurinaitis, and not Vince McMahon, somebody on the board of directors gets told this by a third party who wasn't involved in the situation, and they start investigating and they find the money trail. And right now, Vince McMahon has temporarily stepped down as the CEO and chairman of the board of directors, and Stephanie McMahon is in his place right now, and John Laurinaitis is currently suspended without pay from the company, pending the outcome of the investigation, which is being overseen by the member of the board of directors who had the whistleblower turn the information over to. So we've been speculating that Vince McMahon might be on the way out at WWE, but I don't think any of us saw coming this way. So, what are your guys' thoughts on this?
All right, let's simplify with this. Vince McMahon is losing his job because he cheated on his wife.
No, Vince McMahon is losing his job because he took $3 million of company funds to pay a woman to keep her mouth shut.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think I did this happen recently, or has this just been
Yes.
uncovered?
No, this was fairly recent.
Fairly recent, meaning since we've been speculating that he was going to sell the company, or
The
fairly
last
recent, like a
three
couple minutes
days.
ago?
This story just broke, and the whole situation's happened within the last year.
All right, because sometimes stories break from things that happened a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. So that kind of does blow up in my face with the whole Vince is going to sell the company. Well, not really. because he could be trying to sell the company,
Well, Vince
and
can't sell anything right now.
he might be getting a little bit of that white collar mafia pushing around, where somebody's like, "Oh man, maybe sell it to me for $5 million less, or I'll tell everybody about this." I don't know, but it doesn't seem like like you said, right now he's not going to be doing any kind of stuff except for hiring lawyers.
Yeah, right now Vince is pretty much going to be sitting on the sidelines watching everything. With right now, Stephanie McMahon is in charge, so a lot of people are speculating that he's still going to be telling Stephanie what to do and yada yada yada. But whether that's true or not doesn't change the fact that this could be the end of Vince McMahon because the board of directors is going to decide two things based on its investigation. Either Vince is going to be vindicated, or Vince is going to be out of a job. Take your pick.
I thought Stephanie was out of it.
Yeah, she was, and she was taking time off. People were bad mouthing her because she decided she was going to take time off. Is what happened with that one. There was if you remember, was it 2 weeks ago? We had the story where a lot of people were saying that Stephanie was forced out. That's not what happened. That wasn't the case. And the board of directors asked her to come back to take over temporarily for Vince while he is taking his time away while the investigation goes on. That doesn't mean that Stephanie is going to be the CEO and chairman once the investigation is over. She is just the temporary interim CEO and chairperson, I guess, of the board of directors while this all gets settled.
I think Sean McMahon had something to do with all of this shit. He
You mean
set up his
Shane?
dad. Shane, the son.
No, he hasn't
Shing
been
Chong
around.
Shang.
Yeah, he hasn't been around for a while.
So how much power does Vince actually have?
Vince is the majority shareholder in the company. He can pretty much do whatever he wants with it.
Well, he's a
But
billionaire.
but at this point, he has violated the company's own ethics regulations that he has put into effect, and he is just as susceptible to any penalties that the board of directors can place on somebody who violates them. So that's what we're waiting to see what comes of the investigation on that. So yeah, the board of directors in this situation, even though Vince is the sole single majority shareholder, owning over 55% of all WWE stock. Don't remember the exact amount. At one point, he owned almost all of it, but he sold off a good bit of it to fund the XFL the last time. But he still is the sole majority shareholder, and he can be forced out by the board. This is the one situation basically where the board of directors can actually force him out.
Real quick programming note. Just wanted to say hello to Patriot in the Dark and Garage Guys out there. Thanks for joining in. Garage Guy said it's not the first time that Vince had an affair. Patriot said heard whistleblower was one of the midget wrestlers. Sneaky little fella.
Yeah,
So how did Vince get caught? Like how? I mean, is the guy really that stupid that he just wrote a check and signed to WWE for $3 million? Like how did he get caught doing something so stupid?
She
well,
filed a complaint.
no, she didn't file a complaint.
Oh,
This is all coming from a third party source who had all the paperwork, and it's not her.
Yeah. See, if he paid her non-disclosure, if he had a non-disclosure order with her and she broke it, then he could sue her for way more than $3 million.
Yeah,
So when
except
you
that
take money and promise to keep your mouth shut, and you've taken money, you better keep your mouth shut.
no, yeah, that's not exact. That's not. This isn't a legal NDA, so that wouldn't apply anyway. A legal NDA, she would, Vince wouldn't be in as much trouble as what he's in because the board of directors would have had to have signed off on it if it was a legal NDA. This is just Vince misappropriating corporate funds to pay the woman
yeah. Why didn't he
money.
just give the? Why didn't he just give his girlfriend some money out of his own pocket?
That's what everybody's trying to. That's one of the things people are trying to figure out. What the hell did Vince decide he was going to take 3 million of the company's money and not 3 million of his own money?
All it is, Vince wants to go out in a bang.
Well, hold on. If
Vince used
I'm
his girlfriend as a tax write-off.
yeah, wait a second. If I'm Linda McMahon, Pat's in the house. What's up, Pat? If I'm Linda McMahon and Vince is trying to pay me a $3 million bribe out of his money, isn't that our money? So I'm gonna pay myself my own bribe? No, Vince. No, you give me somebody else's money.
Well, this isn't Linda McMahon we're talking about, so that doesn't.
I thought you said he was paid his wife off.
No, 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 no. The paralegal he was having the affair with.
Oh, so he paid the side chick off to be quiet.
Yes, yes, with keep
Oh,
her
I thought
funds.
he paid Linda off to not
No,
snitching
no,
out
no,
about the
no,
affair.
no, 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 no.
Okay, all right. Maybe
So
I
do you
got
know
it.
who is on? Do you know who's on the board of directors?
Stephanie, Triple H, and a bunch of other people. Um, Nick Khan, who basically is Vince's right hand man right now, and a few other people with foreign sounding names that I can't pronounce. So, yeah, it's like some Hindu people, and there's like, yeah, there's some British guy, some Irish guy. I forget all what all their names are, but some of those people have some really hard to pronounce, like Hindu names and stuff.
Most of those people are just financial, just investors in the product and the marketing of
Yeah,
the
it's
WWE. So
yeah, it's generally what the board of directors is. The board of directors usually is made up of the people that hold the most stock and maybe a couple of the executives in the higher ranking executives in the company, like Triple H, Stephanie, and Nick Khan would fall into that category.
so I mean, obviously we don't know the answer, but how can Vince be so stupid? Like, don't you think he pays somebody $100,000 a year to watch the bank account for fraud? I mean that he's obviously he pays financial advisors and tax accountants and all that other kind of stuff to watch his money and watch the company's money. So he's know if he $3 million is missing, there ain't no receipts for it. I don't know. That sounds like a really stupid move.
Yeah, but it's not the first time that some big business person has been busted this way. Hubris is a hell of a thing.
Yeah, but see, that leads me also to he almost got away with it, the TV show, and all these other like housewives that try to poison their husband's spaghetti, and every single one of them gets caught because they all do the same thing. If they just watch the show once, they'd be like, okay, we don't do that thing. But like, just because a bunch of other idiots have been busted, don't you think Vince knew? Hey, a bunch of idiots have been busted for sticking their hand in the cookie jar. I better come up with something else. But I get what you're saying. The ego gets in the way and says, I'm not going to get caught.
Hmm. That was his limo blew up. Patriot. They were going to run an angle where somebody was trying to kill Vince, and he was in his limousine when it blew up. Because he said, "Is this like when McMahon went, his plane was supposed to explode or crash when Benoit went nuts?" No, that was before Benoit, and they promptly killed that whole storyline. But yeah, somebody was trying to assassinate Vince, and his limousine blew up. And like a week before the limousine blew up, the stage had given out when he was supposed to be giving out money to the crowd and stuff like that. So, which he did. They did. In all fairness, they did give away some money to fans and stuff that night before the stage collapsed. So, but yeah, that's what that was. It was just bad timing. They start this storyline and then Benoit kills his wife, kid, and then himself. So.
That's the worst case scenario. What happens to Vince? Found guilty of all charges.
Well, he's not criminal. He hasn't been criminally charged yet.
Oh, I mean, I'm just trying to get the point across. Like
Yeah.
he's caught red-handed. Like what's happening to him? What's the worst that can happen to him?
What's the worst that can happen to him? Right now, he potentially will lose both positions as chairman of the board and CEO of the company. And if the board of directors chooses to do so, they could file a criminal complaint for embezzlement against him.
Would there be stipulation where he would have to sell his stock off, or would he still be
Yeah,
the
they
majority stockholder just without any voting privileges?
right. They could do that. That's another potential thing. They could force him to sell off the majority to where he'll still hold a lot of shares, but he won't be the majority shareholder anymore. And again, the the hardest sanction that he could face is actual criminal charges.
Oh yeah, he could get a decade in prison or so.
More than that,
Yeah, probably. Yeah, for $3 million, they probably throw him away for the rest of his life.
yeah, he could be looking at a minimum of 20 years.
He has money, they won't touch him.
And tell Bernie Madoff that embezzlement.
Ha
The federal government does not take kindly to people who embezzle.
But, but the difference is Bernie Madoff didn't have any money. So basically,
Oh no,
they arrested a broke man and Bernie Madoff. I get what you're saying. Like he was hooking and jiving, and the government don't like competition. But technically, Bernie
oh,
Madoff didn't have any money.
oh no, Bernie had a lot of money. It was just other people's money that he was supposed to be paying him off, and instead he was making it look like he was
Yeah,
paying
I
the money, and
understand
he
how
was
Ponzi
keeping
schemes
all of
work.
it.
I understand how you rob Peter to pay Paul. That means I didn't have any money, because the time that I robbed Peter of $1,000, the hour it took me to go pay
No,
Paul,
no,
that money's not mine.
no,
That's how
no.
Bernie Madoff worked. He would take $1,000 from you and promise 2,000 to Jason, so Jason would give him 3,000, and then he'd spend that credit on luxury stuff.
Oh, he had plenty of money. When they arrested him, he had a couple $1 billion in his name. The,
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Was that actual liquidatable cash, or was that just like
yeah, it was
beachfront
actually it
properties
was
and
no,
airplanes and stuff?
it was actual cash. He had a
Uh,
couple billion in hard cash. That
okay, well then I stand corrected. Then I apologize, because the way I assumed it, he was just built up credit
no,
everywhere.
no, no, that's not the way Ponzi schemes. That's not the way they work. See, they take and they skim off the interest on the investments, and then they make it look like they're paying you when they're actually paying this person, and that spreads the money around and to make it try and make it hard for you to track where the money is going. And a lot of the times, the majority of that money is going into the person running the Ponzi scheme's bank account.
That Bernie Madoff took my mom's whole retirement, 401k, everything she worked for all her years.
Mm-hmm.
Her company had their 401k stuff invested through Bernie Madoff, lost
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yeah, well, that happens with a lot of people. That's a horror story that a lot of people can tell, because that's one way that Madoff was getting people, that he was running Ponzi schemes with people's 401ks and 402ks and their five whatever k, because there's a few different investment style retirement plans that are like a 401k and stuff. And yeah, a lot of that was getting invested through him, and a lot of people lost their entire savings for retirement.
Just look at the bright side, Jason. At least we sent $1 billion to Ukraine this week.
Wow,
I
I
know
didn't
your
know
I know
that.
your
Now I
mom.
feel better.
Your mom surely stands with Ukraine. Yeah, she'll get a seventh job to pay off her bills. That's okay. She doesn't need to see her family or eat or
Eddie
stay
said
warm.
when the baby comes, she can quit one of her night jobs.
All right, so I see Brock Lesnar was back throwing Usos all around.
Hmm. Yeah, that happened. It's gonna there looks like but there's a reason for that. That was going to be the next topic, because apparently Randy Orton, who was scheduled to face Roman Reigns at Survivor Series, has injured his back, and he is not going to be back until next year. So Brock Lesnar is the panic button, essentially. What do we do now? Hit the Lesnar button. Yeah. So now it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. It looks like, and again, it's because we've had another. If you remember last week, we were talking about all the people that got injured. Well, add Randy Orton to that list now.
What happened to Randy? I missed that.
Back injury. He had been
Damn.
wrestling with a back injury. He was taking some time off to rehabilitate because they said he didn't need surgery, and apparently during rehabilitation he injured it worse, or that was worse than what they thought it was, and now he needs to have back surgery, and he's going to be out for at least a year.
G23 has joined the show.
So yeah, we're looking at another injury. So add him to the list of CM Punk and Cody Rhodes and a whole list of other people. Yeah, when it rains, it pours, Pat. In this case, it's a shitstorm. And, on more WWE news, it's being reported that Sasha Banks has been let go from WWE. She's one of the ones that walked out a few weeks ago.
What?
Yep.
So would they just pay her the rest of her contract and tell her to get lost?
No, they basically just tell her to get lost and she can't wrestle anywhere for 90 days. She was already suspended without pay.
All right. Okay, that's right. You did say that. So
But
is she headed for rap videos, or is she got another wrestling career somewhere?
I don't know, to be honest with you. With her having walked out, that's not going to look too good on her. But the interesting thing is, there's no word on what's going on with Naomi, who was her partner in crime, which could mean that the walkout was, if, and again, if the reports are true and Sasha's been let go, she could have been the impetus for the walkout, for both of them walking out. And Naomi, and since they haven't really, there's no reports at all of Naomi being released, she may be in the clear, and she may not have any more action taken against her, unlike Sasha did.
Hey, man, what if the paralegal assistant there's just a cover and it was really Sasha Banks?
No, they know who it was. They know all about the paralegal. They have the woman's name and everything. Yeah.
What if Sasha Banks is the paralegal? Oh, that's not. That's so unrealistic. Her having a law degree. Well, Chris
Yeah.
Cromwell's got a law degree, so I guess it's not
No,
that
I didn't
hard.
mean she was the paralegal. I meant she was Vince's girlfriend, and they was just saying it was somebody else.
No,
And now
they
she's
know
got
exactly.
$3 million and she don't have to wrestle no more.
No, they know who the paralegal is and everything, so they know down with those.
I think what happened was Sasha pumped that other girl's head up, and they went into the office shaking their thing, demanding stuff, and said, "We'll walk out." And the guy behind the desk was like, "Bye." So they were like, they got their bluff called, so they turned around and walked out. And then old Shorty realized that she done messed up, so she sat at home nice and quiet, being respectful and not making a peep. And Sasha probably kept running her mouth to where the company was like, "Look, we're not even going to deal with you anymore. You're gone."
Yeah. Oh, an interesting turn of events. The person that
Get
who
your blue
was
hair and get out of here.
the person whose office they walked into and threw the belts down on their desk just happened to be John Laurinaitis, the other guy that's implicated in the situation with Vince McMahon.
Okay, so back to Jason's point. Maybe John Laurinaitis was banging
See?
Sasha Banks.
No, John Laurinaitis was also banging the paralegal. Him and Vince were, you know,
Maybe John Laurinaitis
paired.
was banging Linda McMahon.
Have you seen Linda McMahon? I
Don't
don't know.
accuse me of banging her. Don't. I'm not guilty.
You seen her size of her purse? I'd bang that old bitch. I'd bang the hell out of her. She could be my old lady, and I'll be her young stud.
uh,
Maybe John was banging both of them at the same time.
Vince and the paralegal?
And I'll do it for considerably less than
Jump
three
some bitches are
million.
kinky in Hollywood.
That we just uncovered it. John Laurinaitis is banging Vince McMahon.
And Sasha Banks is their love child.
Yeah, it could explain how John Laurinaitis keeps getting the job as director of talent relations when you get quite a few of the former WWE talent and some of the current talent that really don't like the guy.
Timeout. Timeout. The guy's official title is talent. What?
Talent relations.
Talent.
Yeah, that's an actual thing in wrestling.
That's
There, every company,
that's code word for casting couch.
every every wrestling promotion has a director of talent
Oh,
relations.
yes.
That
We've
their
uncovered.
job is to make sure that contracts are signed and renewed when they're supposed to be, and all that
Uh,
stuff.
what do
We've
you do for
uncovered
the
some
money,
stuff
honey?
tonight. You need to rename this. Unloaded. What's that? I can't. I just screwed the joke up. I can't think of the detective guy. Sherlock Holmes. That's not funny anymore. Probably wasn't funny this time.
I don't know if Sherlock Holmes would touch this case. Hercule Poirot may.
More like wrestling Law and Order.
Mm. Where's Shatner when you need him? Get the Boston legal team on
Unsolved Mysteries.
there. Well, Robert Stack's dead, so that'll be hard. I mean, he's a stiff.
But Vince McMahon, he's not in any kind of legal trouble, though, is he? I mean, the
Not
law ain't
as
messing with
he,
him. It's
not yet, but that's up to the board of directors whether they want to file charges against him or not.
he just pay the money back. He'd be all right. I'm not gonna fault the man, other than next time use your own money.
Yeah,
And
one way or
don't be a
another,
dick and raise the price of pay per view.
yeah, one way or another, I think Vince is done.
He's pretty old. He ought to just give it up and retire, anyways, man.
No, people have been saying that for a couple years, for a few years, well, a decade, and Vince is too damn stubborn. He's got too much of an ego. If the board of directors wants him gone, he done gave them the perfect way to do it. Gift wrapped it.
Patriot said, "Well, it could be Fantasy Island. At least they had midgets."
Well, one anyway. They had tattoo. That's one midget. Be plain.
Hey, I'll be right back.
Yes, tattoo.
Everybody should know they couldn't trust Mr. Rourke. I mean, that was Khan, for God's sake.
Well, hell, he tried to kill the queen in Naked Gun.
Mm.
I was thinking about Enrico Palazzo the other day.
Enrico Palazzo. And that was a great little movie. I love that movie.
Did you ever watch the cartoon Freakazoid? Ricardo Montalban was also the voice of the villain in that show. Yeah, he had a thing for playing the villains and things, didn't
It's because he's a creepy dude, man.
he? Oh, his younger days in his career, he was one of those heartthrob actors that all the women would go to the movies and watch. He used to do a bunch of those like romance things.
To all the girls I've rubbed before.
Not that kind. He also played Indians in westerns.
Now I do remember that.
I think he was from like Spain or something. Maybe it was Mexico. It was one of those Spanish-speaking countries he was from.
There's no difference. Spain, Mexico, they're the same thing.
Oh no, no. There's a big difference between Spain and Mexico.
Jason, take my word for it. There's no difference.
Do they both speak Spanish?
Slight difference in the skin color, but same thing.
In overall height?
Yeah.
Other than that, they're pretty close.
The women in Spain probably aren't as wide either. Maybe
Wait,
I've been a little rough on Spain. Maybe Spain isn't exactly like Mexico. It's pretty close. All right, Pat. Take care, man. Thanks for hanging
Later,
out with
Pat.
us.
Yeah, I can't quit yawning.
what does what does Spain have? What do they got? What's Spain famous for? What are they?
Let's see. You got Toledo, which is what Toledo, Ohio is named for, but Toledo, Spain is very famous for their swords. They had some of the finest sword makers anywhere in the world. They have some really beautiful cathedrals and stuff over there.
So basically, it's a shithole place like Mexico.
No, no, no.
Yeah, it's really close to Mexico. All
Mexico,
the
you don't see. You
all
don't
Spain's
the
find.
on one side of the lake, Mexico's on the other.
You don't
all the
find.
touristy parts are old because like 1,000 years ago, Spain was important for a couple minutes, and then the rest of it's just like it's like France, but if Mexico was France.
Well, they border each other.
France doesn't border Mexico
Oh, Spain.
unless you're looking at it from my eyes, where pretty much they're
Well,
all
they did. They did at one point in time because Mexico was part of France at one point.
well, I mean, it still fits my theory. Everywhere in Europe that's not Russia is Mexico.
The France Mexico border.
Hey, the France Mexico border didn't exist because Mexico was part of France.
And hey, I mean, there's the Ethiopian Mexico border
And
because there's tons of
technically,
people coming across our southern
technically, I
border
mean,
from Cuba and everywhere else.
the border is really big, but the Atlantic Ocean does touch both Mexico and France. So I mean, the
That
Atlantic
that
Ocean's the border between France and Mexico.
that explains the migration.
I've heard of wetback before, but I never heard of waterlogged.
How do you think the Spanish got to Mexico? They
Fucking
crossed that
waterlogged.
border. They illegally crossed the Atlantic Ocean. They were the first illegal aliens of Mexico, and then they crossed the southern border from Mexico north. Oh my God! It's all the Spanish fault. Hiding and smuggling Nazis. No, that was Argentina, not Mexico.
Same Patriot. That's Mexico.
Spain. Yeah.
Argentina and Mexico are definitely the same thing.
Not quite.
Argentina and Spain are pretty close. Bunch of Nazi harboring, loving, communist, fascist sons of bitches.
Well, at the time of World War II, the Spain was fascist. They were one of only two countries to actually have a fascist government. The other one was Italy. A lot of people don't realize this. The Nazis were not fascist. The Nazis were nationalist socialist. The fascist party was the party of Mussolini.
Yeah.
The
Or
Birds of a
fascisto,
feather flock together. So.
the fascisto was like that
that
sickle thing that they
the
used.
dagger, yeah, the dagger they carried, and that's where the fascist party took its name from. And then Franco saw what Mussolini was doing and adopted that party in Spain as well. And that was completely independent of what Hitler was doing at
Who
that.
did that?
Franco, who was the leader in Spain.
Franco.
Yep,
You mean
Franco.
Frank?
No, no, no. His last name was Franco. So,
Frank. The two Utes.
but, I always forget what the guy's first name was, but Franco took power during the Spanish Civil War, which was one group of socialists under Franco who would become the fascist party in Spain against Soviet-backed communists. So there really wasn't a good guy in that war, was there? Either it would have Spain under control of fascists or communists, depending on who won that war.
Well, if you think about it, we do need to give a tip of the hat to the socialists and the communists for World War One and World War Two. Because if it wasn't, well, really mostly World War Two, if Germany had never invaded Russia, then all the dead Russians and all the dead Germans probably wouldn't have happened. So they killed a lot of each other for us. I mean, that's commendable. Thank you guys.
If Stalin had
Yeah.
half a brain,
Does work out to be about right, though, doesn't it?
no, if Stalin had half a brain, he would have known better than to trust Hitler in the first place because the Germans and the Russians never got along. It was only a matter of time before the Germans were invading Russia.
Yeah. Funny
I mean,
things happen when two different people want the same piece of land.
yeah, and the whole time that the Russians and Germans are supposed to be allied before Operation Barbarossa, Hitler is going behind Stalin's back to the British and the United States, trying to get us on his side to attack Russia. And Stalin is starving the Ukrainians to death at the same time. The 1930s were pretty fucked up in Europe.
Would you say the 2020s are pretty messed up in Europe? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Well, you got almost the same situation going on.
I wonder if Vladimir Putin slept with his law executive.
Vladimir Putin sleeps with whoever the fuck he wants. Who's going to stop him?
Probably every one of them.
Patriot says, pro tip, stay off the boat that was made in Spain, especially if it's heading to England. 'Cause you'll end up sinking. Spain. Most of the treasure ships off the coast of the United States and Mexico and South America are Spanish in origin.
I've heard people talk about like kind of this kind of topic. Do you think it was the ships that were made crappy and just couldn't deal with the rough ocean voyage? Or do you think that they were just weighed down too deep with plunder and they were sinking?
A little of each, and
And
remember
the
Europeans.
weather.
Yeah, remember Europeans weren't used to dealing with hurricanes, so their ships generally weren't well suited to dealing with that kind of weather. And a lot of these Spanish treasure ships went down in hurricanes. If you look at the logs and stuff and what survivors who were
Yeah.
eventually rescued said.
Kind of hard to sail a sailboat out of the way of a hurricane in time.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is a pretty good factor to take into account is the tropical weather that Europe doesn't have because there's no tropics.
Yeah, and for got to look at for even several hundred years, the waters here off of America, off the Caribbean, and all that. That was like the new territory. You know what I mean? Uh, those oceans and all that stuff was different for them. Different type of weather, different type, depths, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and you got to look where the storms are made and what direction they travel. Hurricanes and tropical storms all usually start off the western coast of Africa and move east because of the jet stream. So yeah, Europe doesn't get any of that. It's the same. You get the same in the Pacific. You'll get the storms that'll start off of the American coast and then eventually you'll pound the hell out of Japan. The Kraken is that a Kraken that's on crack? Yeah,
Oh
Probably
yeah,
got to speak up a little bit. Yeah, he's blind.
yeah, that
yeah.
that's true. Some of them boats could have went down because of the Kraken.
Well, we know giant squid were a thing. All it will take is an extra big uh, giant squid.
Yeah. Where did the hurricanes come from if there was no SUVs or oil burning plants?
You'd have to ask the thing. You'd have to get a time machine and
Some
go back
climate change
and
sunk them
ask the
boats.
sailors that were rescued and you know said about the massive storm that when the description they give is a hurricane. And remember, unlike what they want to tell you, a lot of the carbon emissions in the air actually come from the Earth itself in the form of volcanoes and other types of volcanic activity that aren't necessarily full size volcanoes.
Mute yourself and delete this video.
Y'all all know it comes from cow farts. Hey,
Yeah, yeah, we gotta get rid of all the cows.
They already are in Kansas. You see all them dead cows?
AOC just wants to get rid of the cows because they give her too much competition.
Well, she did it. She went and poisoned them or something. They said they blamed it
that
on the heat. The heat.
Yeah, they blamed it
The
on the heat.
No,
yeah, that bitch can eat an apple through a picket fence.
so I saw a video today uh, that said that the cows dying thing isn't actually as rare as we think it is. Like that kind of stuff
No, it's
apparently
not.
happens quite a bit.
Yeah, it does, and you'll get it. You'll have that happen in the winter too. That certain areas cattle will freeze to death because it gets too cold. Like up in the Dakotas and Wyoming and stuff, they'll have cattle herds that'll freeze to death.
Well, why in the hell don't they take better care of these animals? I don't
But
care if it is a cow, you're gonna eat it anyways or whatever. Like, if you know he's gonna die because it's 100 degrees out, why don't you have some like shade, some water?
Oh,
Why don't
well,
you take him to the butcher a little early or something?
this
Damn.
the video you'd have to ask. I'm going off of a video that Brandon Tatum put out, and that's all the research I've did in it is listening to what he said in this video. So if Snob is listening, or if you talk to Snob, he's a little bit more hands on with that. But apparently, these cows were in the line for the butcher shop, basically, and they go to this feeding barn to where they feed them kind of like a lot more. They get a whole lot more food, so they get super proteined up and fat, and then they go to the butcher shop and get killed so they can come get served out to everybody. They seen the heat wave coming, so what they did was they cut back on their food to keep them from being so bloated and out of shape, and it was just too late. It was just they did the best they could, and the cows died. So what they do with the cows is they grind them all up and sell them to dog food companies, and then they'll take the hide, whatever is usable, and use it, and then the meat and guts and all that kind of stuff they'll sell to dog food companies. And that's what the point that the people that were talking to Brandon Tatum were getting across is it's a real weird looking thing and it's super skeptical, especially nowadays. But in reality, scenes similar to that aren't really that rare.
Yeah. And when you look at some of these larger ranches, it doesn't even have to be in that situation. You'll have cattle that are at their free range, and you'll get a heat wave just come on, and the cattle, before you can round them up, are just dropping dead before you even get a chance to try and round them up on these larger ranches, which have thousands of head of cattle. Well, not only did the cattle die, so did the chat, apparently.
I just worried about the price of hamburger going up.
That's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, all the other food plants and the baby formula and all that stuff, that's real stuff. But the cows dying like they weren't poisoned by Nancy Pelosi or anything like that.
Maybe them cows knew too much. Is this Clinton cows?
They were
Is that,
Clinton.
is that
So,
the Clinton ranch? All the cows fucking died?
hey, there's only one letter difference between Clinton and Clanton.
Yeah, you know Bill likes his heifers.
Yeah. Have you seen Monica?
All I seen was the back of her head.
That was the best part.
All that Bill saw was the top of her head.
I heard of blue ribbon cattle. I ain't never heard of blue dress cattle.
All right, me, Jason, and Buck were walking down the beach one day, and we all saw something sticking out of the sand, and we were like, "Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Let's go figure out what that is." So we clean it all out of the sand and pick it up, and then poof, this genie pops out of it. The genie says, "I I can only grant 3 wishes, and since there's 3 of you guys, I'll give you each one wish, whatever wish you want." So Jason steps up and he's like, "You know what I wish? I wish all Glocks in America were turned into Berettas." And the genie's like, "Okay, boom." And then all of a sudden, every Glock in America has instantly become a Beretta. So Buck steps up and he's like, "All right, well, I wish that all Democrats would be out of America. Every form of Democrat completely out of America." So the genie's like, poof, and all the Democrats are gone and out of America. So the genie walks up to me and he's like, "Okay, man, what's your wish?" And I said, "So let me get this straight. All Glocks are now Berettas and there's no Democrats left in America." And the genie was like, "Yeah." I said, "I'll have a Coke."
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a racist joke, but, I can't
Mm-hmm.
tell racist jokes on somebody else's channel.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever hear the
Oh,
one where the 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 white guy was fishing and he found a genie bottle and the genie said he'd give him the three wishes, but look over there, you see that black guy fishing. Whatever I give you, he gets twice as much. Did you ever hear that one?
Yeah, I've heard versions of that. That's pretty good too.
Yeah. At the end, you ask the genie to beat you half to death.
hmm.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Oh, really? I just heard it last week.
I think the first time I heard that one was I was 10 years old, and my uncle told me it. We were out, we were out fishing. Me, my uncle, my cousin, and our grandfather.
You know what a
After a clan
grasshopper's
meeting?
favorite? You know what a grasshopper's favorite sport is?
No.
The
Cricket.
long jump, cricket.
Oh, cricket. Ah, jeez. You got me on that one, Mr. Tricky.
Um, um, Getting back to the wrestling thing now. It looks like they are setting up for the pay per view next weekend, the big New Japan AEW crossover show for Jay White, who is now the IWGP World Champion, to defend that belt against Hangman Adam Page and Adam Cole from AEW. So that could be interesting.
I'll be back in a sec.
So there's a pay per view next weekend?
Yeah, the big one
Hell
we've been
yeah.
talking about, the New Japan and AEW show. So yeah, that's next Sunday night.
What time's that going to be? Around 8?
Uh, I think the main show starts at 8, and I think the pre-show starts at 7 or 7:30. I have to look. The main show's at 8, but doesn't say when the pre-show, and pre-show is at 7. And remember, unlike WWE, AEW during their pay-per-views does show matches during the pre-show.
Yeah, sometimes a little bit better than the main show.
Well, I think that's why WWE stopped doing matches during the pre-show, because the pre-show matches a lot of times were better than the matches they had on the main card. And then, which now gives us matches that should be on the pre-show, like Happy Corbin versus what's this, Madcap Moss, or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that match wasn't bad, but it was not a match that should have been on the pre-show. That match should have been on the pre-show, not the main card. And back in the day, it would have been. Of course, lately the WWE's been throwing like the tag team title matches and stuff on the pre-show, and putting stupid matches like Happy Corbin versus Madcap Moss on the main show. So maybe that'll be a good thing about Vince if he does have to go, if he goes away. Maybe they'll start putting the matches on the pre-show that are supposed to be on the pre-show.
These Japanese people don't have a bunch of lame women wrestlers, right?
No, there's two women's matches I think on the entire card, and they're both made up of AEW wrestlers. The New Japan does not have a women's division. We've talked about this before. In Japan, the women's wrestling and men's are separated by promotion, and not that you don't have a promotion that has a men's and a women's division. The closest to New Japan having a women's division would be Stardom, which is their sister promotion owned by the same parent corporation. That's trying to remember what the card looks like for next weekend. Let's see. See what we got for a match card. So far, we have what? John Moxley versus Tanahashi for the interim AEW Championship. A fatal four-way match for the AEW All Atlantic Championship, which is a new belt that they just created. Will Ospreay, who is a damn good wrestler, versus Orange Cassidy for the IWGP US Championship. Thunder Rosa versus Tony Storm for the AEW Women's Championship. Okay, so now that is there's only one match on there, and that's for the AEW Women's Championship, and they're both people signed to AEW. And then you have Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki versus Shota Umino, Eddie Kingston, and Wheeler Yuta. So that's the card. So at this point, but like I said, it's looking like they are going to have another match added with a triple threat match for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, possibly. At least that's the way it looked on Dynamite anyway this week.
That sounds like it'd be pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what?
You,
Japanese women wrestlers? Be careful, they pull up Pokemon. Some of those women's Japanese wrestlers, their outfits, they look like Pokemon.
Yeah, they do.
so how much does this pay-per-view cost?
It's 50.
All right. I can split it with somebody if y'all want to.
I think Kingpin was gonna pay if you want to talk, if you want to go with him and both each of you split
We
and
all
split it
split it up.
25. You can't split 53 ways, Jason.
Hey,
Why
look.
can't you?
I can handle the math around here. Each of you send me $25, and then I'll pay for
Sound like a plan.
That sounds like Vince McMahon math.
it. Yeah, but you could split 54 ways.
I
So
ain't
if
got no
you
money.
three pay me $25, then I'll pay you the money for the thing.
Eh,
That's
Kingpin's
four.
taking
One, two,
lessons
three,
from
four.
Bernie Madoff.
One,
This
two,
is a
three, four.
Ponzi scheme if I ever heard one. Yeah, it's looking to be a good card next week. The weak point might be that women's match.
No.
Yeah, yeah. I know. It's hard to believe, right? But yeah.
Hey, is this the one that got that crazy bitch in there that got the doll?
No,
Oh, okay.
that's WWE. And she doesn't have that no more. They've done changed her gimmick.
Somebody else I was watching the Hard Bastard live stream the other day, and I swear he was talking about that dude that Rich thinks is a girl that Jason and I know keep trying to tell him is a guy, and they as well think that Rich is wrong because they know that that's a guy. So it's not just this channel. It's well known fact now. I've heard it twice on the internet.
I think the first time I saw him, I needed no convincing.
I can't argue with the internet, Rich.
Yeah, you can. There's a lot of shit on the internet. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Mystics out there, hi.
Hey, Stacy.
Hi, Stacy.
What is that? What does that dude call himself? Riley? Ripley? Who is that? Ripley? Riley? Something like
Yeah,
that?
Ripley. Something Ripley.
Richard Ripley?
Yeah, they call him Dick for short.
I don't know how. I never seen this before. Rich, your name's Richard.
You're just now figuring that out?
Yeah, but I never realized, like, has anybody ever called you Dick?
No,
Like, because
no,
I used to have a father in law. His was Dick, but, his real name was Richard.
no. There was one
Because
person
I
that
just
did, and
wondered,
there was one person that did it in middle school, and I promptly punched him in the mouth.
because, like if you had to fill out any, like, papers, last name first, you'd be like White Dick.
I worked for a guy named Robert Johnson.
Did he sell his soul to the devil too?
He was quite a cool dude, actually. He was a terrible businessman. He owned this little bar called BWB's. It was Buffalo Wings and Beer, and not like the other thing. This was a different thing. Like before the Buffalo Wild Wings was a thing, and his name was definitely Robert Johnson. He was a cool dude, man. He just terrible at running a business.
Yeah, why don't you guys take over a sec?
I think we made Rich mad at us, Jason.
Oh, I hope not. He'll get over it. I didn't mean what I said about that Ripley girl.
Yeah, I saw the clip on. I guess it was on YouTube. The where Brock Lesnar came in on one of their WWE shows. I guess it was the Friday night show, and was slinging all the people around. So I figured he was up for a new title shot.
I didn't see nothing about that. I didn't see any wrestling news this week.
I just caught a glimpse about that shit with Vince McMahon. I didn't watch the video or nothing.
Did you shoot any of those powder coat bullets yet, Jason?
No, I'm gonna let them sit about a month before I load them up. It wouldn't hurt to, but I like to at least wait about a month on them, maybe.
Patriot said he went to school with Barry Brown and Charlie Brown. What are you loading, Buck?
I'm loading some 9mm.
I need to start doing something, man. I think the last two trips I went out, I think I went through more than 1,000 9mm.
I got me
Probably
one of them
four or 500
case.
45s.
I went in and bought me one of them damn case feeders for the progressive press I got. Thing works pretty good, but a couple of them get turned upside downwards. But
What
it's
the
working
lead?
out pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just leave this set up for 9mm.
You using that like red funnel type thing at the top to
Yeah,
put the case in
yeah,
it? Go
yeah.
watch. Go watch the internet. There's a trick why them 9mm cases are flipping over. It's got something to do with that hole in the top, and people take like a penny or a dime or something up there and hot glue it, and you just go watch a video of it on YouTube. Yeah, they like hot glue a dime or a penny up there, and then all the cases will fall in there the correct way.
Huh. Yeah, I'm going to look that up then. Some of them bastards, boy, some of just spin for a little while before they hit. That's fun. I think I'm ordering me one of them bullet feeders too. That way I ain't got to touch shit.
Yeah, I remember seeing that about the 9mm cases. Yeah, they modify it somehow with like a dime or something, man.
I'm going to check that
It's
out.
just for 9mm. So like if you after you modify it, like you need another one of them funnel things for everything else. But yeah, I've seen that before on those.
I'm glad you said something about that.
Yeah, there's just something about the size of that hole in the 9mm case gives problems.
Well, for the most part, most of them are the right way, just like a few of them. Maybe two on the four tubes. That's about it. It seems to work all right, though.
You guys keep
Go ahead.
your rounds in order. How do you keep track of how many times you went through each casing?
Well, everything I picked up on 9mm has been range brass up there I was shooting at. And most of the time it's shot just once. That's what I'm hoping.
And if you're gonna keep reloading the same cases, Kingpin, you you can get like like if your first case you get, like you're putting them in like an aftermarket case, like an MTM ammo case or something, you get all kinds of reloading cards and stickers, and it's got a little section there that you write down how many times you've reloaded that particular piece of brass.
So that's
And
what I mean.
if you
You
got
look.
different ones, you can mark the back of them with a Sharpie marker or something.
Alright,
That way, when you pick them up off the ground at the range, you know which ones were yours and which ones were somebody else's.
alright.
I don't know if how big of a deal it is with pistol. You know what I mean? You're gonna go. You're pretty much just gonna keep going with them till they split or you have some problems with them. You know. But the high powered rifle stuff, you really need to pay a lot more attention because you got so much more prep work and what you're doing to those cases. You'll just naturally have a little record of how many times it's been fired.
Yeah, the main thing on the pistols would be just check the cases over for splits or something.
Hey everybody, real quick. We've been joined by Rich from Unloaded Media. Hey Rich, how you doing today?
Yeah, sorry, my daughter came in. She doesn't have a key to her apartment yet, and her boyfriend is still at work, and their roommate must be sleeping or something, so she couldn't get in. So she came here. So that's why I had to step away for a minute, a few minutes actually. But yeah, and no, they didn't drive me off, Stacy. So yeah, it was one of those family things, you know. Yeah, how it get that gets. So what were we talking about? Reloading? Is that what that was?
Yeah, Buck's doing some reloading at the moment while we speak. His attention's distracted from our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
He's all selfish like that.
No, I'm still listening. I'm ready.
He's naming all his rounds after different wrestlers.
Uh-huh.
I actually ran into some bad ammo today, man. Had a couple light primer strikes because the primers were like really set deep. And then I pulled out a 357 Magnum that halfway down the case was pinched and dented it so bad that I swear the case wasn't even straight no more. It was cockeyed from halfway up. As soon as I
Yeah,
seen it, I was like, oh my God, look at that. And that was Federal American Eagle 357 Magnum brass. And like, it was pinched right in half. It was like dented, man. It looks like you took like vice grips and squeezed them and locked them on the middle of that case.
PNW Woods has joined us.
Hey, Woods. Yeah, that's the thing about the ammo in there. Everybody says they're, in a hurry working 24 hours a day. That quality control has to be way down,
Well, yeah, I get that,
you
but
know?
this ammo I've had for years. This ammo was like even before COVID, man.
Oh, there's some older
This,
stuff, yeah. Yeah.
like, I don't know what the hell. All of the cases had bulges in them, just like from the projectile shoved down in them, and they weren't great. They all had a little line on them, but then all of a sudden, this one was just like you couldn't believe it, man. It looked like you put it in like a vice and crimped it. I mean, just halfway down the case, it wasn't just dented. It was like bent in so far that it was crooked. I mean, damn. Like, you know, I know it's only a fucking 30 some dollars a box and my money don't mean nothing to you, but damn, you know? At least give me better quality than that. That's useless. I gotta throw that away. I can't even shoot it.
Yeah, that ain't good for nothing then. You can't even have the brass or nothing.
No, I didn't even try, but I doubt if it would even went into fucking went in the cylinder. I counted it wasn't straight. It wasn't. It ain't gonna go in there.
A friend of mine bought a skeet throwing little jobby from Walmart, and I'm sure like Dick's Sporting Goods or Cabela's or whatever kind of big box store you'd like to shop at, the little generic one right off the shelf should be plenty good for what I guess you're looking for practice for your kid. So I would look at Walmart for their little throwing machine. Either that or talk to Clover. Clover would probably know more about that.
Did have another good part of the day. I broke out my little Beretta 380, and everybody all day long just loved that little pistol. Everybody that shot it just loved it, man. And it really is pretty sweet, man. That is a sweet shooting little 38 or 380. And for as small as it is, I might get a holster for that, man. It's
Gizzard Gary, good to see you, sir.
Evening,
Hey,
Gary.
Gary. Yeah, I like shooting that little 380 I got. Things make fun to shoot.
yeah, I like this one. I've like been neglecting it, man. Forgot all about it most of the time. Never even dawns my mind about anything, man. Glad I'm getting reacquainted with that little guy, man. That's actually a sweet little pistol. Good trigger, fits can good, perfect size. Nice little carry, yeah.
Yeah, come to think of it, I ain't shot mine in a while. Might pull it out tomorrow and try it out while I'm watching wrestling videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. See if you guys can figure out who this picture is. Okay, you seeing it?
Okay,
Hold on, let me get over here closer.
just blew it up. Is that your daughter?
No, that's on the right is the one that you guys keep saying is a guy before she started taking the steroids, and her little sister on the left. I'm telling you, it's not that she's a guy. It's that's just what the steroids did to her.
They could. They change them kids in like fourth grade nowadays, man.
Yeah, but if you look, that's definitely not somebody who looks like a guy there. It's the steroids.
It looks like a wrestler's sisters.
No, that one was her, and the other one was her little sister before the steroid. I'm telling you, steroids will fuck with your body, and they can change your complete look, and more than just giving you more muscle. Though I've seen that before with a there was Um, the hell was she? Shit. She did something with the track team when I was in high school, and they caught her because her body and her facial features and stuff started changing from the steroids. Like her face got more fuller and masculine like looking and stuff, and they made her go and take a drug test, and she got popped for steroid use.
And grew a beard.
No, she didn't grow a beard, no, but her facial structure, she started looking more boyish from the way the muscle and stuff was changing in her face.
I still say that wrestler's a dude, man.
I just showed you a picture of her when she was younger with her sister.
I don't believe the internet.
That's a picture. That's a picture of post surgical.
That dude's daughters. That's who the picture was.
She ain't old enough to have daughters that age, man.
That was a Halloween costume. That was a Halloween photo. That's what gave her. That's what gave him the idea to become a female wrestler.
If you look at pictures over the course of her career, when she got into WWE, you could see how she started to change and stuff from doing the. Yeah, there's no doubt that she's been doing steroids since she's been in WWE. That's the same with a lot of the wrestlers in WWE. I mean, we all know about the Vince McMahon steroid controversy and stuff.
Did we welcome AR Guns to the show?
Not yet.
Hey, AR.
Even in AR.
Yeah, late evening, buddy.
Hey AR, how you doing?
Any thoughts on skeet throwing machines? Preacher said that a little while ago. Frankly, no, because I've never really used one.
What was that
Skeet
thing at
apples.
Clover had? Was the cannon or something where
I
you
don't know.
pull it back and you cock it and then you shoot them out. They had pretty good luck with that.
No, the only thing I've ever used was one of those handheld ones where you looks almost like a question mark, and you put this skeet in the round part, and then you just throw it.
High, high ally.
Yeah, kind of like highlight. Yeah, you throw the skeet up in the air with that.
I
Basically, your arm
always
matches the
got the
leather.
one. I always got the one from was it Walmart or Bass Pro? I think has them that you just put one or two of them in and you cock the damn thing back, pull a string.
Yeah, a friend of mine's got one that's uh, hooks on his trailer hitch. Slides right in the square trailer hitch. It's a platform. It's got a hell of a setup on it. Uh, I think you load it up. I think it auto feeds. I think you put like 4 or 5 or something in it, and then
Yeah,
you got like a remote control for it.
yeah. I've seen those kind before. They have like a little, almost looks like a smokestack at the top that you put the skeet in.
Yeah, yeah, they stack up, slide down. But he actually is. It's not his land, but his yard goes up to a farm, and he just backs the truck right up to the edge of where he mows, and then the fields start, and he just shoots them out over the open field and shoots them. But he knows what he's doing. He can do it real well. He hardly misses.
You do it competitively or just for
Just done it
recreation?
forever. Growed up in the country like that. He's not really a pistol guy or AR-15 guy or nothing. He's a shotgun guy.
Oh, yeah, shotgun competition. And
Yeah, he's just nah. He's not a. He's a competition beer drinker.
You should get him entered in one of those contests one time. See how he does. Not the beer, the shucking.
But yeah, he's got one of those clay pigeon throwers. Like I said, his fits in the back of the thing. It was fairly expensive too. I remember when he got it.
Yeah,
But
that's what I
I've
was
known him,
wondering.
man. He's gone through every single type of those things you can get, from kinds that hook in the ground, kinds that hook on spare tires, all that. This new deal's like his baby.
As much as he's spending on that, he might as well try to do the competition. I mean, if he's as good at what you're saying, I mean, what's it going to hurt? Might actually enjoy himself. Get out there and show the other so-called competitive shooters how it's done. Right? I know there was another goddamn wrestling story I want to talk about tonight, and I can't remember what the hell it was. Oh well.
Tune in here for the latest news. Don't miss a thing.
Mm. Well, this is more of a weekly recap kind of thing. This is all stuff that broke during the course of the week that we talked about earlier.
How come Stephen Colbert's people broke in the Capitol, and the only thing the news has got to talk about is Vince McMahon's the secretary?
Oh, I know what it was now. Jeff Hardy was arrested again,
Yeah, I heard
drinking,
about that too.
drinking and driving,
That's not good.
driving with a suspended license. Um,
Getting worse.
yep, he had where he could drive if it was for work, but he had to have one of those specially adapted cars that has the breathalyzer built into it, to where if he's been drinking, the car won't start. And he wasn't driving one of those. And this is his third DUI. Uh, he may actually look at jail time this time. I think it was in Florida where he got popped.
How many times is that?
Third.
Third?
Yep.
Yeah, three strikes, you're out.
And it wasn't even at night. It was in the morning. He
Damn.
pulled over at like 10 o'clock in the morning. He was swerving all over the road. People were calling in 911 on their cell phones and stuff, and got this guy swerving all over the place. And yeah, they sent the deputy out, and sure enough,
Well, since he's not a Pelosi, he probably gets screwed. Or not screwed, he gets what he deserves, but
mhm,
he's in trouble.
yep, he's been suspended by AEW and obvious reasons. Yeah, he's looking at jail time for sure this time.
Well, if I was him, I'd consider it a wake up call and change your ways, because you're lucky you didn't wreck into somebody and hurt or kill somebody,
Hmm.
all
Well, he's
because of your goddamn bottle.
he's been fighting one addiction after another for the last 20 years. Painkillers, alcohol. And you look at the way the guy wrestled. It's no shock that he was addicted to painkillers. probably taking them like M&M, eating them like M&Ms, you know.
Yeah, I watched a special on him one time on YouTube,
Hmm.
and they were talking about how he come in to go wrestle so damn drunk he couldn't even walk, couldn't even talk.
Yeah, yeah, that
They
was on a
sent his
pay per
ass
view.
home so many times and shit.
That that was on a pay per view in TNA back in the day against Sting at their biggest pay per view of the year. He showed up completely wasted, got in the ring, and Sting beat him within a couple minutes, and the crowd starts yelling, "This is bullshit!" And Sting looks at him like, "You're right. You're absolutely right. This is bullshit." And Sting was pissed. You could tell his way he was acting, his reaction and everything, the way he was interacting with the crowd. Not only was the crowd completely pissed off, so was Sting.
Damn, Jason just done 200 rounds within 1 hour and 36 minutes.
Hell yeah. No rush, man. You ain't got to rush.
No, nah, I'm just sitting down and taking my time.
I gotta do so much cleaning tomorrow. Maybe I'll clean some brass while I'm doing other things.
I think I'm gonna try me some bullet casting tomorrow. It's supposed to be cooler tomorrow, the last cool day for the week. It's only supposed to be 90, but low
But
humidity.
it's still supposed to be in the 70s here tomorrow.
Hell, I'd love to see another 70-degree day.
I think it was probably only in the 70s here today. We got so much wind that it's cooled off.
Hmm. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Nice, cool, breezy day today.
So when I build my house in Death Valley, nobody's coming over.
Maybe the Undertaker will stop over. He lives in Death Valley, right? I mean, that's where they always booked him from being, anyway.
If you got AC, I don't mind it being hot, and I got to put up with work and everything. But when I come home after swimming in my own sweat all day long, I want to sit in my house with air conditioning, man. I'm sorry. I'm 50 years old, man. I've spent all my life suffering. If I can sit in air conditioning now, I'm going to sit in air conditioning.
Well, I've got nothing against air conditioning. I just want the sun to be as effective as it is bright.
Yeah, I don't know, getting close to 100 and stuff, that's kind of not normal around here for June. Maybe August, but not June.
Yeah, that's August for the hence the dog days of August.
They uh they started shutting the power off and shit around here, which is bullshit. Just like they do in California because they don't have enough electricity for everybody. They started that here.
Oh shit! Biden said that's going to happen. We're going to have rolling blackouts this summer.
Yeah, very like we didn't have like it didn't like we kind of had mild weather all the way up to now. It just went hot all of a sudden, like these 3 4 days this week, and that's when they shut everybody's power off, man. First time it got hot, and I guarantee they didn't shut the power off in the Richie people neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's how it was here. We had like 2 or 3 good weeks of just 70 degrees, 80 degrees, no humidity. And then we had a storm, and right after that, up in the 90s, so goddamn hot you can't stand it.
Yeah, they shut the power off here. Some people like one day, some people 2 days, but some other people got hit, wasn't getting turned on till today. They go 4 or 5 days without no electricity. Now, like all that expensive food in your refrigerator just got ruined.
Hmm.
Your life ain't very good. Depending on what neighborhood you're in, I'd hate to be there with no electric and no street lights and no nothing. That's just bullshit, man. But I did hear him say, if you lost all your refrigerator full of food, uh, they got some kind of program thing like food stamps or something. So what? I'm like, I can't got no food because you turned the electric off, and I got no food in my refrigerator. It don't do me no good to go to the store and bring home more food that I can't put in my cold refrigerator.
Oh, your house got struck by lightning. F you, pay me. That's what you just said. Because you don't pay your taxes because your electricity bill or anything that you were inconvenienced in the time that they did that to you. Then no. You pay us up.
Yeah, I've never known of that. Like maybe if there was like a storm or something, but here in Ohio we don't do this rolling power blackout thing. We've never had to do that in the past ever.
Here, neither. We don't have that shit.
Nope, never had that here. Never had that in Pittsburgh either when I was growing up as a kid.
Yeah, I'll be back in a minute, guys.
So what happens when you cut coal production because coal bad. The majority of the country's power was derived from coal. And you see how cutting coal production hurts. Just look at California. They've been doing rolling blackouts since the 80s. Also corresponds to when the Democrats started getting all the power in California, too. Funny, isn't it?
Yeah. I said it before, man, but just like you say, it's funny. They didn't stop coal mining here. Just the coal that's mined here now gets sent all the way to fucking China. Comes out of the ground here in Ohio, gets poured into train cars, and travels all the way to the coast, gets put on a boat and sent back to China. Our coal right here. Hell, closer to your house than mine, actually, Rich, down southern Ohio. But China come in and bought all that land and property. That's bullshit. Another country shouldn't be allowed to own property here. Only citizens should be able to own property here.
Yeah, now they'd be closer to your house because I'm not in the western part of the state. I'm in the extreme eastern part of the state. It'd still be closer to you.
It's 3 hours for me, so.
Yeah, definitely closer to you.
But yeah, that's just bullshit, man. They shut that down, said we couldn't use that coal no more, but then they sold the place to China, and trains after trains after trains of train cars just piled full, shovel out there every single day. And
Yeah.
it ain't for us.
You know when West Virginia started to turn red? When they started cutting our coal production. That was during the Clinton administration, and it's never recovered. In fact, Obama cut coal production here even more. which is why Hillary was told when she showed up, "You're not welcome." By the coal miners union. She was supposed to do a campaign stop back in 2016 in a town in the coal producing area of the state where people were all out of work and shit because of her boss at the time, Obama. And she got met by the union. They told her to leave. She wasn't welcome in this state. And she promptly left. So, but she's been back to West Virginia since then.
It takes a village.
You know, she's if it takes a village, she's the village idiot. And Bill's the town drunk. No, Pelosi's the town drunk. Both of them, both Pelosi's. They're made for each other.
Yeah, be more specific.
Take your pick. Either one of them. Bill's the guy that's always sleeping around with everybody, and everybody knows it, but nobody says anything.
Can't say I blame him.
Maybe it's just me. Like if I think about the guy that wakes up first thing in the morning and before he opens his eyes, you hear, he cracks a beer open. If I think about that too much, my stomach will get all queasy and I'll feel like I need to throw up. When I look at Nancy Pelosi, I get the same feeling. Like she's so drunk, it makes me nauseous.
Yeah, Pelosi is clear evidence of what happens to you when you drink too much. You ever see pictures of her when she was younger? I mean, like in her late teens, early 20s?
Had a
Yeah.
hell of a rack on her.
Yeah. She was a freaking beauty queen. She was winning beauty contests back then. She let herself go a lot over the years.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to sleep now.
Okay, Kingpin's going to go to bed and he's going to have images of Pelosi in his head all night and he's not going to be able to sleep.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, he's going
Don't
to wake up the
implant that
nightmare.
in his mind, Rich.
He's gonna have nightmares of Pelosi all night.
If I go live at midnight, then you know where it's just premonition came true. All right, guys, y'all have a good time.
All right, see you
Yep.
later.
Later, Kingpin. Have a good
See ya.
one. I'm really getting tired of these idiots in their loud cars.
Yeah, I got put up with it here every day.
It's not even loud where it sounds good. It just sounds like shit. I mean, it's not. There's a loud car and there's a car that sounds good loud. None of these are the latter.
Yeah.
Now, what else we got to talk about? I don't know. You guys are a big help.
Sorry, man. It's just been a long day. Buck still there, or did he walk away to do something?
I don't know if he's still there or not. Yeah, it's a pretty rifle. One of 1,000. I can screen share this. That email from Henry about this just now. But it's one of 1,000 tribute Henry lever action rifle. Look at that receiver. You see that?
Yeah. Damn.
And look at the walnut. Look at the burrowing in that walnut, man. That is beautiful.
Yeah, that is.
And there's the other side with the made in America or not made at all slogan from Henry.
Oh, the 22s.
Yeah, it's a 22.
Oh, that's a nice looking horse.
Yeah, that's pretty. And, yeah, it's just about their custom engraving. Yeah, it's pretty. It's a pretty rifle.
Well, what is that going for?
What does that go for? $1,195.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I ain't paying that much for no
Well,
22.
well, shit with the engraving and the that walnut, the engraving, the
Oh,
inlay. Yeah,
oh, scroll back up a minute, Rich. Going up a little bit more. Something about an auction. I think, yeah, right down the very bottom. What does that say?
design engraving are the same, or by the same Baron engraving artisans who created the original number 1 million rifle that auctioned for $55,025.
Yeah.
So serial number 1 million of Henry rifle sold for $55,000. Yeah, $55,000 essentially. So
Mine says 999,999.
remember, they're only making 1,000 of these, so they're going to go up in price.
Look, man, that guy bid 55,025 bucks. So, like, did he outbid the other bidder by 25 bucks after they already went to 55,000?
Wouldn't be surprising. I mean, that's the way that stuff works. And the other guy just wouldn't go a dollar more. I've seen that in auctions where the guys have bid up to $1 million on a car, for example. If you watch the Barrett Jackson car auction, guy will bid like $1 million on the car, and the other guy had bid 950,000. He wouldn't go another. Come on, just 10,000. Give me 10,000 more. The guy wouldn't go 10,000 above 10 million, above a million. He's like, nope. He's gonna go 990,000, but he wouldn't go 10. He wouldn't go 1,010,000. And for those that don't know, the Barrett Jackson auction, you got to prove that you have the money to pay before they let you bid on certain cars because there's an expected price range that the car will go for. And if you can't verify that you have that amount of cash, they don't let you bid. It's what they call a protected auction.
Yeah, those people in that damn auction are crazy. But there are some nice ass cars,
Oh hell yeah, there
Oh,
are.
yeah, the nicest of the nice.
though. Yeah.
Some of those big collectors up in there, like Ron Pratt's there every year. Them dudes show up, man. They could drop 20 million that weekend if they wanted. I mean,
Oh yeah,
if they
easy.
want that car, they're getting it.
Well, one of the coolest ones I remember was the Nash Bridges car. It was one of the ones that was used in the series. That went for a decent
I
chunk of
remember
change.
that car. If that Ron Pratt usually shows up every year, buys two or three of the $4 or $5 million cars, and he'll buy the charity car. You know what I mean? It's like a brand new pickup's worth 50 grand, but he'll give you 500 grand for it because money goes to like Children's Hospital or something. But
Mhm.
he buys those every year, but he usually buys several $millions worth of cars. He's got his little notebook folders and stuff there, man. He knows which cars he wants, and he's gonna get them.
Yeah.
Can't
I've seen
outbid
Jay.
him.
I've seen Jay Leno win some of the auctions on there. And he gets on there and he'll buy something. I mean, he's a big car collector too. A lot of he's gone there and he's won some really nice cars in the auction. I wish I had that kind of money.
Shit, I wish I had some of his cars.
Hmm. Well, that too, obviously. He's got one of the Batmobiles that actually has an engine in it that was used in one of the movies. I forget which one.
I've seen a Batmobile before. The original
The original was a Plymouth, wasn't it?
Ford,
No, it
Lincolns,
wasn't.
and Fords. Yeah,
Oh, it
yeah.
was a Plymouth.
No, no, they're Fords. Uh, where I actually seen it and checked it all out, everything was at my Ford show we used to have here all the time at the racetrack. Yeah, it was built off a Ford Fairlane or something.
Lincoln, 1955 Lincoln Futura.
Yeah, something like that. Lincoln,
Just looked it
but
up.
it was a Ford.
One of them, one of them used the Plymouth as the base.
That I think that was in the TV because I think that's a like no, that's Pontiac, wasn't it? Something like a GTO looking thing.
No, no, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, the T. I'm talking about. I don't know about the modern movies. I'm talking about the old TV show.
Yeah.
And
Now
that was a Ford.
there was
Mm-hmm.
one that was used by promotion by DC Comics before the Adam West TV series. That was a 1956 Olds 88. Yeah, the Batmobile on the TV series was a 1955 Lincoln Futura concept. It was built by hand in Turin, Italy, at a cost of $250,000, which adjusted for inflation would make it $2.2 million.
Wow, I didn't know because they spent that much on it. They got ripped the fuck off.
Well, it was one of a kind.
Hey Bernie, how you doing?
Hey, Bernie.
I did see one of the Starsky and Hutch's cars a while back. The guy said they was taking it to an auction somewhere. It's one they used in the movie.
Yeah, the concept car is the one that cost Ford 250,000 that the Batmobile was built off of. So the Ford paid 250,000 to have that car built in Turin, Italy. The guy who turned it into the Batmobile reportedly only paid $1 for it, and then turned it into the redid everything and turned it into the Batmobile. So, which would you rather have, a one of a kind concept car or the Batmobile that it was turned into.
Huh. I don't know. Probably worth more being a Batmobile.
Yeah, I think I'd go with the Batmobile. I think it was a cool looking little car.
Here's
One
before and
in.
after.
Oh yeah,
The top is before, the bottom is after. Obviously,
Oh, that's right. I've seen that top one before. Yeah.
the top it looks like something Homer Simpson would have came up with. The front end looks like the rear end. It has fins on both front and back.
Yeah, reverse fin.
you don't know which way you're going.
Yeah, you don't know if you're coming or going in that car. And the passenger compartment looks like a jet fighter cockpit or something. Double bubbles, double bubble canopies on that. Like, who thought that looked good as a car? Is what I want to know. This
Well,
looks
it
weird.
matches like the Batman mask and stuff. The
No,
ears.
I'm not talking about the Batmobile. I'm talking to the top one. If you look, it's got two fully enclosed bubble canopies for a passenger compartment.
Oh
Like
yeah,
you
but
would find on a
that was the the jet age as they call it.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Trying to do a cockpit from a plane.
yeah. It's weird looking, that's for sure.
Shit, I would love to have one right now. That
They
way
didn't
I
have
ain't
to.
got to listen to my wife enough and going down the road.
They didn't have to do much to modify that to the Batmobile. Look,
No, don't even look like they did nothing to the rear end.
yeah, painted it, got rid of the chrome
Yeah,
strip.
yeah.
They got rid of the wheel covers on the fenders and flared them, flared the fender. Changed the front end, the nose. Uh, Incorporated the fins into more of a cow kind of looking thing that blended more into the hood. Definitely looks better as the Batmobile down below. Yeah, if I were doing it, I would think I would have got rid of the window on the back on the Batmobile though. You make it look like a roadster. Get rid of that altogether on the back there, where the tailpipes come out of the right in front of where the tailpipes come out of the top of the trunk back there. Get rid of that part of the window.
I don't know if the tailpipes are like fake rocket cannons or some shit.
Well, when he
I
would
could
gun
have
it, there would
sworn,
be yeah. If you watch the series when he guns it, flames come out of there just like they do the jet engine nozzle in the back.
but I also remember I thought he shot off some type of rocket out of that thing one time, or some kind of gas bomb or something.
Oh hell, there was a lot of things on the Batman TV series where it would change from one week to the next. I mean, watch all the different places where the Bat phone is in Commissioner Gordon's office or Wayne Manor or the Bat Cave, for example. Those were the days before cordless phones, so you didn't just move your phone around willy nilly. That Bat phone, the pedestal and all would be all over the place. And Bernie's asking, George Burris built that car, right? Yeah, George Burris built the car. He said he also had built the cars for the Munsters.
Well, I'm gonna have to bail out too, man.
Yeah, we're gonna get ready to
Take
wrap
my
this up.
dog out for the evening. Call it a night.
Yeah,
Good to see you. Good to see you, Buck.
You too,
yeah,
Jason.
Yep. So we're going to wrap this up anyway. We've gone over 2 hours. So anything you want to promote before you get out of here, Jason?
Ah, no, just doing a show tomorrow night. Everybody come
Yep.
back.
Yeah, should be. What about you, Buck?
Just thanks for the invite, and everybody come on back tomorrow night for round two.
Yep. And yeah. So we'll see y'all tomorrow night. Have a good night, and remember that'll be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and we'll leave you with this.
You guys are probably really scared right now, and I understand that completely. But I get the better of the deal, and even though it's 3 versus 2, you guys are outnumbered because we're better than you guys. Yeah, we are. We're legends in our own mind compared to you guys. Even though you guys got the egos, we have got the wrestling skill. And this guy right here, we're the Space Cowboys.